Hello, sir. Good evening. I am Sinal Samuye, 14 years.
14 years of age. In which class do you study?
8.
8th class. Where do you live?
Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu.
Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Great. Okay. So, Shri, I am Arpit, and today I will be taking up this topic of constitution. Okay. Have you heard this word before, constitution? Do you know what a constitution is?
Little bit.
Little bit. Okay, whatever you know, you tell us. Don't be afraid of being wrong.
7 fundamental rights. 7 fundamental rights.
7 fundamental rights. Okay. Chalo. Now, I'll briefly explain that what a constitution is. Vedant, tell me if I'm wrong anywhere. Okay. If I'll be wrong anywhere, you have to tell me. Okay. Now, this is for Shri. Shri, constitution is a book, basically. And this book contains the laws, the rights, which are given to the citizens. The laws are also for the citizens. Okay. What do you know what a law is, Sri?
Right to religion, education, and traditional.
No. Laws. Vedant will tell us what laws are.
If we are going to worship, then we don't want to worship only Krishna.
No, Vedant. No, that is not laws. Laws, something which are made by the government, and if we break those laws, then we will be sent to jail. I told you this about the laws.
I don't know much about this, sir.
Okay, laws are basically something which are made by the government, and if we break those laws, we go to the jail. Okay, so those laws are here in this book. Okay, and rights are there in this book. Shri was talking about fundamental rights. Actually, these rights are fundamental rights only. Okay, now we will proceed. We've discussed what a constitution is. A constitution is a body, a document, or a book of fundamental principles according to which a country is governed. Okay. Now, fundamental principles may include laws, rules and regulations, rights to its citizens, and basic structure of the political setup in the country. Now, before proceeding, I would like you guys to know one more thing also. Vedant, in which part of the country do you stay? Where are you put up?
So I live in India, Uttar Pradesh.
Uttar Pradesh. Which city?
Prayagraj.
Prayagraj. Who is your chief minister?
So now Yogi Adityanath.
Okay. And Shri, who is your chief minister?
Stalin.
Stalin. Okay. How many states are there in India, Vedant?
So I think 28.
28. Shri, is Vedant right?
28.
Okay. This is India. Roughly. Do not go on the exact drawing, but something like this is India. There are 28 states. Each state has its own government. Like the head of the government in Uttar Pradesh is Yogi Adityanath. Head of the government in Tamil Nadu is Stalin. And head of the entire country, who is the prime minister of the country?
Sir, PM Narendra Modi.
Narendra Modi. Now, Narendra Modi is the head of the central government. Is the head of the central government. Then we have one more level of government, that is state government. Every state has its own government, like UP has its own government, and that is headed by Yogi Adityanath. Tamil Nadu has its own government, that is headed by Stalin.
Sir, I want to say something.
Hmm.
So there are two types of school. First government, second private. Government school, central schools are held by the government of country, but the private schools are held by state government.
No, private schools are held by private individuals. Okay. Those are private. Government schools are of two types. Government schools are of two types. One are central government schools, one are state government schools. Okay. Central government school like Kendriya Vidyalaya, in which you study, KV, is a central government school. Okay. There are many schools which are run by the state governments also. So those are state government schools. Okay. Both of these type of schools are called as government schools. Now we are talking about the governments in India. Now there are two types of governments in India. First is the central government, which is called as government of entire India, total India. Okay. And the second is government of state. Now that government is limited to that state only. Okay. Yogi Adityanath cannot do anything in Tamil Nadu, and Stalin cannot do anything in Uttar Pradesh. Okay. So they will be limited to their respective states only. Okay. So we have two types of governments in India. First is the central government, second is the state government. And who has divided this government into two categories? The constitution has divided it. Okay. So this kind of division is also there in the constitution. Now, next is, why was the constitution needed? Why was it needed? Okay. Now, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you both a story. What used to happen in the older times when there were Rajas and Maharajas, they were rulers in 1000 AD, 1100 AD, 1200 AD, even before that, even in BC also, there were rulers, there were kings, and they used to do what they felt like. There was no such concept like constitution. There was nothing like that. They said it, and that was the law. They said it, and that was the constitution of that time. Many people, many common people suffered a lot because of this. If the king wanted to take away my land, to take away my house, he will order, and my land and my house will be taken up. I would be suffering. So this was the kind of setup in the entire world, not only in India, in the entire world, this kind of setup was there. Slowly and gradually, when the time passed by, the Britishers came into India. When the Britishers came, they were doing everything which suited them. They were doing everything according to their wishes. Then also the common people were suffering. Then also the common people were suffering. When the Britishers left, B.R. Ambedkar realized that this cannot continue. This cannot continue. So what he did was, he created this book, this constitution. He said that whatever is mentioned in this constitution, everyone has to abide by it. Everyone has to follow this book. This book is the supreme power. No king, no prime minister, no president. This book is supreme. And everything written in this book has to be followed. And so they started following it. And we are still following it. Narendra Modi, the present Prime Minister, is also following this book, the Constitution. Okay. So, just to overcome those I would say activities of the rulers, the kings of the past, Constitution was made. And Constitution was made the supreme power. There was no other power above than the Constitution. In India, till today, if anything is supreme, if anything is at the top, that is the Constitution of India. No one is above the Constitution. No prime minister, no president, no judge of Supreme Court, no one. Okay, Vedant, got this concept? Shri, got this concept?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this Constitution of India was adopted when the Britishers left. The Britishers left India in the year. In which year did Britishers leave India?
47.
1947. It took almost 3 years for us to form this book, to write this book. And that is why the Constitution was adopted in the year 1950. That is 3 years down the line from 1947. Okay. Can anybody tell me on which date this Constitution was adopted?
Sir, 26 January.
26 January. Very good. Shri, is Vedant right?
Right, 26 January 1950.
1950. Okay. That hence we celebrate our Republic Day on this particular day every year, because our Constitution was adopted on this day. Okay. Now, Vedant told me that B.R. Ambedkar wrote our Constitution. Shri, is Vedant right? Shri, is Vedant right that B.R. Ambedkar wrote our Constitution? Yes. Shri says yes. B.R. Ambedkar wrote our Constitution. But be very clear on this fact that B.R. Ambedkar was not the only one who wrote this Constitution. He had a team with himself who was involved in writing the Constitution. He was heading that team. He was head of that team. Okay. That is why we mention his name, that B.R. Ambedkar wrote the Constitution. Okay. Clear? Now we have one more student, Faiza Kalhoro. Faiza, welcome to the class. We have started a bit, but we would like to know a brief introduction about you, Faiza. Where do you stay? In which class do you study? Please let us know. Faiza, am I audible? Chalo, I think there is some problem. We will proceed. Okay, so till now, we know what a constitution is. We know that why we needed a constitution. Okay. And we know that when did India adopt the constitution? How much time did it take to write the constitution? On what date we adopted the constitution? We celebrate that particular day as Independence Day of India. Am I right, Vedant?
Sir, on what day?
Independence Day.
On 15th of August.
No, on 26th of January we celebrate Independence. Wrong. Which day we celebrate on 26th January?
Sir, 15th of August.
15th of August is Independence Day. And what day is on 26th January?
Sir, Republic Day.
Republic Day. And that is the day when we adopted our constitution. Okay. Now, we will come to the basic features of the constitution. This is our main topic. Okay. Now, the first feature of the constitution is that, hi Faiza, welcome to the class. I missed out your message. In which class do you study, Faiza? Chalo, she'll be mentioning later on. Now, the features of the constitution. Everyone understands the meaning of this word features? Vedant, what do you mean by features?
No, sir.
No. Like I mentioned that Vedant's height is, let's suppose, 100 centimeters. Vedant's color of the skin is brown. Vedant has beautiful fingers. Vedant has a beautiful nose. Vedant has a beautiful eye. Then those are the features of Vedant. Okay, those are the features of Vedant. Sri, do you understand the meaning of this word features? Basic characteristics. Okay, what are the basic characteristics? Okay, so features of the Indian Constitution. What are the basic features of Indian Constitution? It is the lengthiest written constitution of the world. It is the lengthiest written constitution. No constitution in the entire world is lengthier than India's constitution. Okay, clear? Now, next is, it is drawn from various sources. It is drawn from various sources. The Indian Constitution is not the oldest. Okay. The oldest constitution of the world is the Constitution of San Marino. It was written in the year 1600. San Marino is a country in Europe. Then after that, Constitution of USA came into being. 1788, 89 was the year. Okay, and there were many constitutions after USA's constitution. India's constitution got adopted in the year 1950. That is so many years after this. That is almost 160 years, 161, 162 years after USA's constitution. 350 years after San Marino's constitution. So India borrowed a lot of things from other constitutions. India borrowed a lot of things from other constitutions. Okay. And that is why the Indian Constitution is known as a bag of borrowings. Indian Constitution is known as a bag of borrowings because it has taken many things from many other constitutions. Like fundamental rights which we were talking about, which are there in the Constitution, like right to freedom of religion, that was taken from American Constitution. Right, there are some duties also which are mentioned in the Constitution, like we citizens have some duties for the country which we have to do. Those duties are taken from the Russian Constitution. That is why it is called as a bag of borrowings. The Indian Constitution is called as a bag of borrowings because we've taken a lot of things from various other constitutions. Next feature is, it is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. Now, guys, do you think that the Constitution which was made in the year 1950 is there as it is today? there have been no changes in the constitution since then?
I think there is no changes in the constitution.
Okay, Vedant. And Shri, do you also think the same?
I don't know idea.
No idea. There have been around 100 changes in the constitution. Exactly 100 times the constitution has been changed. And there is a word for change which we use for the constitution, and the word is amendment. 100 times that there have been changes in the constitution, Indian constitution. Okay. Now, is it easy to do these changes? Is it difficult to do these changes in the constitution?
Sir, I have no idea.
No idea. It is not that easy. I told you in the beginning that there are two levels of the government in India. First is the central government, and second is the state government. Okay. The central government sits in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. There are two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, where the central government sits. The state government sits in legislative assemblies. Okay. Now, for any change in the constitution, some changes were done by the central government only. Some changes were done by the central government only, and there were some changes which had to be done by the central government plus all the state governments. So those kind of changes which had to be done by the central government only, those were called as flexible changes or flexible provisions, because it was easier comparatively for those changes to happen. And for those kind of changes which had to be done by the central government as well as the state government, those were difficult to do, because we had to convince all the 28 state governments to do those changes. Those provisions were called as rigid provisions. Those were difficult to do, very difficult. So in the Indian constitution, both kind of provisions are there. Some are flexible provisions which can only be changed by the central government. Some are rigid provisions which can be changed by both the central as well as all the state governments. Clear, Vedant, Shri, on this?
Yes, sir.
Shri? Now, next is federal system. Have you heard about this word, federal system?
No, sir.
No. Shri? Chalo. Now, Vedant, have you ever traveled in a UP roadways bus?
UP roadway means?
Have you ever traveled by a bus?
Yes, sir.
Which bus?
I have no idea, but I have traveled to Noida.
To Noida by bus.
No, from train.
From train.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo. Now, coming back to our topic, federal system. And as I told you that in India, there are two levels of the government. One is the central government, which is headed by Modi ji. One is the state government, which is headed by the chief ministers. We have Stalin in Tamil Nadu. We have Yogi in UP. Okay. Now, do you know that why there was this two types of governments in India? both of these levels of government, the central government has its own work to do. The state government has its own work to do. The state central government has its own powers. The state government has its own powers. The powers are divided. And this clear-cut division of power is called as federalism. Division of powers. Between the central government and the state government. Yogi Adityanath will not be doing that work which Modi ji is doing. Modi has his own work. Yogi and Stalin have their own works. Modi has its separate power. Yogi and Stalin has their own separate power. Obviously, Modi has more powers than chief ministers because he is head of the entire country. Okay. And who has given those powers? The constitution has given those powers to them. Okay. And this division of powers is called as the federal system. Okay, clear? Next is secularism. Have you heard this word before?
No, sir.
No. Shri?
No, sir.
No. Now, which religion do you follow, Vedant?
Sir, Hindu.
Hindu. Shri, which religion do you follow?
Hindu.
I am also a Hindu. Okay. But when it comes to India, does India have any official religion of its own?
No.
No. Exactly. India does not have any official religion. There are Hindus living in India. There are Muslims living in India. There are Christians living in India. Sikhs living in India. Jains, Buddhists. Almost all the religions which are found in the entire world are found in India. And the government of India is the government of all these people. It is not the government of Hindus. It is not the government of Muslims. It is the government of India. And government of India means government of all the people of India. Government of the people belonging to different religions of India. That is secularism. The government cannot be favoring any particular religion. It is the responsibility of the government to protect all the religions existing in India. Clear, Vedant and Shri? What is secularism?
Yes, sir.
Shri, is it clear to you as well?
Yes, sir.
So this is clearly mentioned in the Constitution that there cannot be any official religion of the government of India. The government of India has to protect all the religions in the country. Next is independent judiciary. You know this term judiciary? Have you heard about this term judiciary?
No, sir.
No. Shri?
No, sir.
No. You know what the courts are? Court?
Supreme Court, High Court, and District Court, sir.
Yes. Courts.
Sir.
Supreme Court?
Yes, sir. Sir, Allahabad is the judicial capital of Uttar Pradesh.
Allahabad is the judicial capital of Uttar Pradesh. Very good. I'll tell you why it is called as the judicial capital of Uttar Pradesh. Do you know why it is called as the judicial capital of Uttar Pradesh?
So I think that because there is Supreme Court in Uttar Pradesh.
in Uttar Pradesh. Chalo, no, this is wrong. I'll clear it out for you. Supreme Court, High Court, and District Courts. Okay. Now, what do these courts do? Courts का काम क्या होता है? What is the work of these courts? We talked about laws. Just hold on. We talked about laws. Okay. If anyone breaks the law, then that person goes to the jail. And who will decide that the law is broken or not? There has to be some person who decides whether the law is broken or not. And that person is the court. That thing is decided in the courts. The Supreme Court is the highest court in India. It is in Delhi. There is only one Supreme Court in India, and that is in Delhi, the highest level of the courts. Okay. Next is High Court. Almost every state in India has high courts. And Allahabad has the High Court of UP. That is the highest court in that particular state. And that is why it is called as the judicial capital of UP. Okay, Vedant, clear on this? That there is no High Court or there is no Supreme Court in Allahabad, but there is a High Court. Supreme Court is only one in India, and that is in Delhi.
Okay,
The highest court in any state is the High Court, and that for UP is in Allahabad. And every state has high courts.
Sir, what is the meaning of district court?
District courts. Every district in India has a district court. Okay, like Allahabad will also be having a district court because Allahabad is a district also. Okay, those are the lowest levels of courts. Okay, wherever any law is violated, whenever any law is broken, you approach the district court first. From there, you can approach the High Court, and from there, you can approach the Supreme Court. This is how you go. Okay, clear? Shri, clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, we have written one word here, and that is independent judiciary. Independent. What is the meaning of this word independent?
Sir, freedom.
Freedom. Free.
Freedom.
Yes. Judiciary is this entire setup. The courts. This is called as judiciary. Judiciary is independent from any political interference. No political leader can interfere in the works of judiciary. What if there is a case against these politicians? Then this judiciary, if it is not independent, then it will not work in, it will work in their favor. It will not be called as independent. It is not free. Okay, so independence of judiciary is very much important, and that is mentioned in the Constitution. Now, single citizenship. Vedant, you are a citizen of India, or you are a citizen of UP, or you are both?
I think I'm both.
You are both. Shri, you are a citizen of India, or you are a
India.
citizen?
India.
India. Yes. Shri is right. Vedant, you have only one citizenship, and that is of India. You cannot call yourself as a citizen of UP. Okay. However, if you would have been in USA, United States of America, each person gets two citizenships. One is the citizenship of the country. Second is the citizenship of that particular state in which that person is staying. We call it dual citizenship or double citizenship. But in India, this concept is not there. Only citizen of India. Vedant, do you have an Aadhaar card?
Yes, sir.
Shri, do you have an Aadhaar card?
Yes, sir.
You see on that Aadhaar card,
I
it is
have.
written Government of India. You are an Indian. Shri also,
Yes.
on Shri's Aadhaar card also it is written Government of India. Shri is also the Indian citizen and you are also an Indian citizen. There is only single citizenship in India. Okay. No citizenship of the state, no double citizenship. Clear? This is clearly mentioned in the Constitution. Now, universal adult franchise. This is a very difficult word. This is a very difficult word, but I'll try to make it easy for you. You know, Vedant, voting, how voting is done?
Yes, sir.
Did your
Yes, sir.
parents, have your parents voted in the recent elections?
No, sir.
I think elections are yet to be conducted in Allahabad.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, I think on the coming Sunday there are elections.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Can you also vote, Vedant?
No, sir. After the age of 18.
After the age of 18, you can vote. Shri, is Vedant right?
Right, sir. 8 years, after 8 years voting.
After 18 years, we can vote. After 18 years, you are called an adult. You are an adult if you cross this age of 18 years. Presently, Shri is here, 14 years of age. What is your age, Vedant?
Sir, my age is 6.5 years.
6.5 years. You both are not adults right now. But when you will be an adult, that is when you will cross this age of 18 years, you will be allowed to vote. You will be allowed to vote. And every person who is above the age of 18, any male, any female, person of any religion, everyone is allowed to vote in India if he or she is an adult. Okay. Now, since everyone is allowed, then that is why it is universal. Adult. Universal adult. Adult means above 18. Universal means every person who is above 18 has the power to franchise. Has the power to franchise. Franchise means to vote. Okay. Clear? Understood the meaning of the word universal adult franchise?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this age that is 18 is now you are seeing. Earlier, before 1991, this was 21 years age. 21 was considered as an adult. Okay. But now it has been dropped down to 18. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.